people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 36 of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Last time, we basically were going through the trial, and then all the jurors said, "Oh, hey, Natsume's guilty." So we then had to do another summation examination, and we then overturned the guilty verdict, much to Van Zieks' anger. I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Whatever do you mean?
Objection.
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly preparing the road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right, it took me the whole day, and they made me immediately tuppence for it. Now, my Lord Nibudi's friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. And then Van Zieks, he goes into the future, and he sees that England is now using the metric system. He goes to the future, he sees the future. He sees the metric system being used in England. He sees Edgeworth, his descendant, watching the Steel Samurai. He sees Simon Blackwell, the weeaboo prosecutor. And then Van Zieks, he's like, I don't like this future. This future is evil! Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily valued by anyone of moderate vigor. Who would not agree, my stalwart friend? Well, I can say you're wrong, though. What? And did you perhaps erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing that side of your works? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No projects will be appropriately asked anyways. I mean, the time they just won't backwardly come. You can't just jump over them all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in this meanderings around town. Is that true? Is it? The parchment does not lie. The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to the lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Crushed in a single sentence. And old man. Gold man, you can talk. You say that you, around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at this time? Oh, I can't say as I can remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Order! Lord Van Zieks, explain yourself! My lord, if you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? I have to remain silent during those things! Don't you remember? Otherwise I'd be throwing 1,000 objections out there! I want to give the young board student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I want him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality is at the limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? My lord! The prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses?
Mr. Naruto, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright, no matter who Van Zieks brings to the stand as his witness, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing it to the very end, until the battle is over. Yes, we get Victorian Mike Meekins.
Witness, please take on his occupation for the court.
Constable Roly Beate, S.A.H. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
And I'm Miss Beate. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say that I'm this young town's hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired.
Hardly surprising. With us being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Second only to me having to deal with you in court.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed. Apart from murder, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the mirrors are reading true, polish Lord Van Zieks' boots, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean, and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights. And meanwhile, Gumshoe, he would be like, "Step back, pal! You think that's something? I have to work for Mr. Edgeworth! No! I have to do my detective work, clean Mr. Edgeworth's office, change his lights in his apartment, do his plumbing, fix his car. I have to do everything for Mr. Edgeworth, all for no pay! You have nothing on me, pal! I'll break you! I could be all those patrolmen! I could do all the jobs with my eyes closed and my hands behind my back!
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't be falling asleep on my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago.
But it goes without saying that policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is experienced to investigate and resolve any crime on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor.
And a man of slumber.
Oh, but I have ways of motivating him with pay cuts and parchment paper. On the day in question.
But I just love how Van Zieks just has his parchment paper. Just his elegant parchment paper.
This man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction. And they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beate?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Roly?
Constable Roly Beate, S.A.H. Nothing to report on the streets, What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimony.
I was getting my voices mixed up.
I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. That is right, my Nipponese friend. I am possessed the judge. I now hold the court in my hand. Just like my hallowed chalice, a toast to manipulation of the court system. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir. What the witnesses saw.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Roly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyways, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight off, of course, and then went for help at the nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man on the dock. Roly and I both saw him as clear as day.
Well, this is compelling testimony, I must say.
I'll dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, then the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. Why do we even do this? Why do we let you do this? Why do you cause nothing but trouble in my courtroom? What an unfortunate be chancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed, however. This cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may have time for the rest of this afternoon.
What do you mean by that?
My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less, so you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure.
Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
It was out.
Oh, yeah, it's already read that text. Let me just go through it. Okay, I'm just doing an initial check over. Okay, go back.
Hold it!
Let's do this. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the policeman's beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for suburban young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think Roly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
What? I just finished my beat. Dad and I were heading back to the station. I was planning on getting changed there. Is he talking about his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Roly, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Calmly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir. Yes, although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. Policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has a noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to us policemen on our sworn duty, and CzarThwomp keeps taking his headphones for some odd reason. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail, without a grumble. Because I know that the product line of my boots is all underneath here to feel safe and secure. Yes, and the sight of you napping makes them feel safe when they're getting stabbed in the street and mugged. So, fighting crime does appear to come into it then. But, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. This beat puts up with a lot being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Yes, I love how how it looks like they're both going to go at it in the courtroom, right on the witness stand. And then basically they actually start doing some hand play, some hand action. And Ryuunosuke's like, excuse me. And then Zieks like, my learned friend, do you not know about being a gentleman, about letting a man get to second base? You get to first base. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Roly.
what a charming couple! Their young love is such a joy to behold! If a little over the top, perhaps. And then Ryuunosuke, 100 years later, sees Phoenix in his doll in his Feeny face, and he's just glaring. And then Mia's like, oh great, now some weird, creepy, glaring guy is staring at. Great, now I have a glaring ghost here. What do you want, glaring ghost?
Hold it!
Yes, let's do this. Two silhouettes.
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in opposite directions. There was a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately it does.
And you're certain that this time there was nobody else nearby.
Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on the Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Yes, that's right, of course. There was a white fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the streetlights as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beate. Are you quite sure of what you just said?
Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all his days keeping watch on the streets, I swear to this, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, really?
They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to feel like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened is the crucial moment that followed.
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then we got closer, we realized I was. Didn't we, darling?
What? Yes, that's right. It was some old books.
I see. Old books.
Yes, sir. The Corvette dropped a number of them all around where the victim was lay on the ground.
Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
The rotten Japanese man did what he did that when he did the deed.
Hold it!
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. He was the man in the dock without a question, sir. The mustache, the arched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything. Any more insults you want to throw in?
Would you like me to throw in my findings from my phrenology study, my learned Nipponese friend?
That's right. He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifyingly intense eyes. And then he suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they were telling the truth here.
May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please continue.
Yes, sir.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
My husband is the help. Granted, it took him 10 minutes to wake up in order to perform the help, but he was still help. No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Yes, that's right. I asked Miss Beate to go. I was off duty by that point. But Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I left obliged to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beate. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
But then I fell asleep, and when I woke up 20 minutes later, children were pushing me down and stealing my wallet. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
The first instance in the Ace Attorney timeline of the power of love.
And thanks to your swift response, this case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling?
Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Let's move on, shall we? Yes, we gotta get Beat a bed. Bed for Beat. Bed for Beat. Bed for Beat. The man is eating his helmet strap, for God's sake. Give him a bed. Give him some nice covers. Give him some warm milk.
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know. We have moral vision.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't you? Didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. It's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Of course it is. Of course it is. With it thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your arm.
Yes, all right, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell for sure. And so that was the little Japanese man that we saw. Can't we, darling?
What? Ah, yes, it was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Sasaki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony. What do you think, Mr. Naruto? Well, I hate to admit it, but while hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beate saw what they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yes, I feel the same. So if that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh no! Then what do we do? If Kazuma-sama were here... What are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory on the day is accurate. Oh, right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so, it seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No, of course. It's really not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything, like. Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped?
We'll answer that next time. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck. I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you go back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever that you want. And with that, I'll see. I swear. Anyways, I'm sorry I messed up my outro. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you go back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever that you want. With that, see you next time. Bye. Nailed it.